for the nerds. This is for the brainiacs. This what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back. You ain't gonna touch me. You not gonna do nothing. You are not above me. I bet you wish you was me. I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody?
And welcome back
to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast.
Who are you here with?
My only friends?
Yeah? Who's that include?
My boy Toy 2!
Let's go! It's World Series time, baby! Let's go!
Get it poppin'!
We're popping right now, man. Let's go, Connie. That one wasn't as smooth as the last time. We do not rehearse these things, as you can tell.
No.
Berkey's just seething over there.
No, I actually thought that one was better.
All right, cool.
You know.
When it's when it's raw like that, it just shows the realness of this podcast.
Oh, baby, I like it raw.
What the hell's happening?
Me and Guapo got the flow.
It, yeah.
We get it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Grops. What's poppin', guys?
Well, you're not going to introduce our actual guest?
Who's our guest?
Mr. Hanks is in the building. Actually, he's not in the building.
He is not in the building.
He might be be in the shower. Let's.
I just got out of the shower. I barely made it on time.
We're proud of you. Barely made it on time. 14 minutes until we go, he goes, "I'm about to shower." Like as if any of us thought the guy who lives 20 minutes away was going to make it. And then he gets out of the shower.
He made the call, the Zoom. I really had to scrub deep. It was a late evening drafting.
Yeah. He gets out of the shower. He goes, "Not gonna make it, boys." It's like, we fucking know, man.
We do have someone in the building.
We do.
What is poppin', Jeff?
Hey guys, how are y'all? Nice to see each and every one of you, even you, Brent, over Zoom.
We can, as you can tell, who the responsible one of the group is.
Yeah, I just showed up. Berkey said 10:30, so I was here before 10:30.
Yeah.
Now I have no business calls to take care of. Brent Hanks is also director of programming at Poker Go, very prestigious position.
Busy man.
Conrad, also a very busy man, delayed the 10:30 start time in spite of the fact of being the one who demanded the 10:30 start time.
Time the fuck out. I told you guys at like 10:15, I just woke up. I'll be there in 20 minutes. We never get the podcast started before 10:35. You could have had turned on the timer at 10:30. I'd have been here, boom, boom, boom. I'd have ran in. What's popping, everybody? Blah, 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 blah. And you know we got shit popping. So don't you blame this shit on me.
That's not how this operation runs, Conrad. Okay.
Well, we can oil this motherfucker and get it running smooth.
if you think this is gonna be the WSOP of Conrad showing up 3 minutes before go time, you're dead wrong, sir.
Listen,
I might be here 3 minutes after.
Listen, we need to get this thing in order because the tortoise needs his big blinds and he needs to get down there and on time.
He's already very fraught at the idea that he's going to be starting the mystery bounty 2 hours late.
No,
and
not 2 hours late.
Just
2 hours into it. That's not
2
late.
hours in. You get there 2 hours in. You're gonna wait a little bit.
40,000 chips, 600 big blinds.
Just make sure you go
8-minute levels.
Just make sure you go today.
Levels.
Make sure you go today to put money on TBI.
I already did. Went yesterday.
Fucking
We're responsible in this room.
On,
Beautiful.
Man.
I loaded my account with more money than I could ever spend.
Why do you think I wasn't here yesterday? I was down in Paris. Hanging out.
I saw that.
Yeah.
You and Morgan.
Morgan Chase?
Melissa.
Morgan Freeman?
No, the guy that Tyler who won the. No, it wasn't Tyler. The one that got your girlfriend's name wrong. Michelle's name wrong.
Oh.
That's what I was referring to.
Tyler?
No, it wasn't Tyler.
John?
It was John.
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 Hey, John.
Hey, John. All right, before we get into this thing, we have to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, WPT Global. They are currently in the midst of their spring festival, which includes a Prime Championship. This is a $1,000 buy-in, 10-day ones, which began on May 28th. So you have till June 4th to play your day ones. It's a $200K guarantee. 2 p.m. Pacific every single day. We're actually giving away $210 satellite tickets today. All you have to do is go to the Only Friends Twitter page and leave your WPT Global and user ID name in the comment section. We'll pick a winner at random by 2 p.m. Pacific this afternoon. So be sure to head over there, get your value if you're in a qualifying territory and you're not actually out in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for, the big festival that is upon us. Christmas morning, if you will.
Yes.
It is Christmas morning.
And yeah, it's kind of like Christmas Eve for us.
That's
Because
true.
we're not playing until tomorrow. But, you know.
Speak for yourself. Who knows where I'm going to be at
That's
today.
true. You'll find something
There's
to play
properties
today.
all over Las Vegas running MTTs at the moment.
So many.
There's a 600 at the Wynn. I think there's 1650 or 1750 at the Venetian. Shit's popping, man. Shit is popping. You know, I'm about to put my running shoes on.
Oh, man. It's here.
I'm scared of the Venetian, honestly.
Are you?
Yeah, I was stuck
Why?
in the fucking parking garage for God knows how long the other day. I moved 5 car lengths in 45 minutes on the 9th floor of the parking garage.
Venetian or Palazzo?
Venetian.
Got to do Palazzo.
Oh, I'm a
Just
fish.
Easy out every time.
Okay. All right. All right. Just got to get the steps in for, a little quick
Fair.
exit. All right. I like this.
He's right. Palazzo's the play.
All right. I've never done that.
Yeah.
Little pro tip there.
Is there a tournament today that you're going to go over and play, Connie?
Maybe.
Max late reg the 25K 6 max.
There we go. Non-zero chance that happens.
I mean, he can just come in day 2 with 20 bigs. So
Yeah.
Can I?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spin.
All right, maybe
Now,
we'll
Berkey, are you going to play the 25K 6 max?
It is one of 5 events that I am certain to
You
play.
said 6.
He
Now you're
just
down to
said
5?
6. Now he's
Yeah.
down to 5.
By the
Wow.
end of the podcast, we'll be like, this is one of 2.
Well,
Playing this in the main.
the 3K 6 max they kept as a turbo, so I might just not play it out of protest.
You've been on this for a couple years now.
Well, it's only been 2 years that they've done it, and I think it's the most asshole thing to do. You run like 4 6K, or sorry, you run like 4 6 max events a year. Why is one of them a turbo?
As much as you don't want to play tournaments, you think the tournaments you'd want to play would be turbos. Get in, get out, get your money.
Kind of what I thought.
Yeah,
I just
no,
don't get it.
no. I mean,
It's 6 max. You're deep.
I'm
get the
a
play.
wreck.
You want them to
I'm a
bring,
wreck. I want my chips and I want my time.
you want them to bring back that what was that marathon one? Remember?
Oh, I love that event.
It was like a
marathon.
$1,000 buy-in, but it was like a 7-day event.
Yeah,
I mean, Berkey, have you looked at the new high roller structures? These are pretty quick too.
yeah. Well, some. I actually
This
was. No. The 25K is 60 minutes.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it's 60 minutes, but
Yeah,
they
it is.
skipped a couple levels that they
Yeah, but
had
it's
in
6
play
max
last year.
I mean, it's 6 max. Like,
Yeah. Well, so is that 3K.
Right. Right. But it's 30 minutes. 30 minutes is just very fast.
I agree.
Which is fine. I'm not beefing or I'm not complaining because like it personally puts a distaste in my mouth. I think that this is pretty widespread. Like 3K is a price point that is a very, very popular price point amongst everybody. And I don't think recreationals want to play 6 max turbos. Like it's already a structure where they are kind of like forced into action when you now speed up the levels egregiously and basically make it a high roller structure. You're really just kind of like looping them out. Now, to be fair, I actually think that it probably reduces the edge that a lot of pros have in the field. But, it's one of those things where what's more important to you, optics or saving people from themselves?
Yeah.
And I think optically, like those type of events, it'd be different. Like, if it were a random Tuesday and there were 1,500, freeze out that was a turbo, who cares?
Right.
There's a bunch of those throughout the entire series, but you're only running a 1,500, a 3K, a 5K, a 10K, and a 25K 6 max. There's only 5 of them all series long. It seems weird to pick the middle price point and say, all right, this one's going to be fast.
I love it, man. For a washed up, withered former professional, much like my good friend Will Jaffe, who's in the chat, this is the kind of structure that we need. We can't compete with these animals in these slow-paced, deep-crawling events. This is perfect.
Yeah, maybe I should go about this the exact opposite way and only play the turbos.
That's what I'm saying, man. Get in there.
Well,
Fire away. Win yourself a bracelet in one day.
I don't think that's feasible personally. And I also know that what you're saying out loud makes sense in your head, but I also know that you're lying to yourself. Like if the tortoise had to show up on his day off where he had set some money aside to play a tournament and they were like, all right, man, you're out of here in 15 minutes on average, you wouldn't be happy.
No.
You wouldn't be happy at all.
The tortoise, listen, I mean, he's called the tortoise. He's there for days, buddy.
That's right.
He's going to play 3 hands, 1 a day. He's going to find him. He's going to find his way all the way to a min cash. That's what the tortoise
It depends on how many times I get dealt aces.
Aces are important. Aces are very important to the World Series. Your sole success, not just you, but most people, your sole success for the summer is predicated upon how many sets, straights, and flushes you're going to make.
So is everyone else's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, a lot of the people who have big summers, they just made a lot of fucking 5-card hands, man.
A lot of sets.
It's really all it takes, you know. I don't know anything about this game. You boys had a big day yesterday. By the way, who puts up the money for this?
Well, certainly not
Who do you
us.
think?
Not you two.
El Jefe.
We have we put half of the action up on Poker Stake.
Okay.
So we consider ourselves in this 25K fantasy draft team no gamble no future, really the people's team,
right?
Because anybody can jump in if they want 0.1% or if they want 10%, whatever. So we represent the people, and I think we did them proud. Brent, probably one of the greatest drafts of all time.
Well, it's funny because I was trying to figure out a way that I could get negative percentage of you guys, perhaps crossbook or something of that nature.
And when I came in, Berkey said,
"Our team's any good?" Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know shit about shit, but I said I would take a couple teams sight unseen against you.
And I said, no, you can go through it and like actually look and pick a team to side bet against us. And you're glad you looked through it.
Yeah, I'm
right?
glad I looked. I said I would take Deeb's team sight unseen, and then I looked at it and I was like, wow, Deeb really punted this fucking draft.
I think it was hard to. There are some great teams. I do really like our team for what it's worth as the general manager, of course. I have to say that.
Sure.
Yeah. But with 20 teams, it's just going to be very difficult to construct a really sharp team where you can sit on some players that never come up towards the end of the draft, like we did last year with Adam Hendricks and Sean Winter. This year, those two guys went for a ton. I think Adam Hendricks went for somewhere in the 30s, 40s.
47.
Does that sound right, Jeff?
47. We got him for 3.
Sean Winter went way higher. Last year, we got him for $1.
Well, part of that's because the POY changed a little bit, right? Like it's favoring the high rollers. Or maybe the schedule changed a bit where there's more high rollers, but in any event, like the high rollers are worth a lot more now.
It's pretty similar to last year.
Okay.
I think the only major difference that stood out is that this year they count the women's championship, they count the seniors championship, and they count the casino employees event. But I'm pretty sure the slate, the schedule, pretty on par with what they did last year.
There are more 25K pluses this year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
The 25K Six Max is new.
New because it's never Six Max form, though, right? That's the only.
Yeah, but there's also a 25K 8 Max.
Right. Weren't there 2 25Ks last year? There was that 100K bounty thing to start last year.
Oh, right.
That's not in.
That's not in this year. Right. Yeah, so maybe it is pretty comparable.
But also with Winter and Hendricks, those guys
they played
also did really well last year.
Yeah.
So that's just they're going to have the natural boost, and then they're much more noticeable in this.
Right, but I'm saying on average at least, and maybe it's because there's 20 teams. I saw that a lot of the high rollers went for a much bigger price this year, where most of them were $1 last year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Should we talk about, Brent, what happened to us at the beginning of the draft? I mean, I think
what a debacle.
I think we recovered very well. But yeah, you go ahead and tell it from your perspective, and then I'll share mine.
I mean, it's no secret every year we want to draft Daniel.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's kind of our thing. We like to have the support behind the team. We know people love cheering for Daniel, and we love Daniel as well. So we always want to draft him. So we set a budget for 115. That's what we were going to bid for on Daniel. I believe the price hit 111. And I looked over at Jeff and I just said, well, fuck it. And he goes, yeah, I agree. Fuck it. Just kind of very, very silently. And I thought, we were both acknowledging, well, shit, we're not going to get Daniel. And we just stopped. And within, I froze, he froze, sold. I think he went for 112 or 111, just like last year. Yeah, 111. And we blew it. And Jeff was pissed. And I was like, oh, God, what have we done? Because that was the whole point, is we got to get Daniel, and then we build around Daniel based on this massive list of players that we structured. So that happened. That kind of changed our strategy a little bit. And then Deeb went for even more than that. We wanted to get Sean Deeb, but he went for a ton. So it just, everything kind of derailed after that. But I think we quickly rebounded and got it together.
Wow, I would have interpreted the fuck it as the next bid was 115.
Yes. So from my perspective, going into the draft, we had agreed, Brent's the general manager. I was promoted recently to CEO and president of business operations. So Brent would be the voice. You have a couple people sitting at each table representing each team, but it's just easier if one guy just says all the numbers, nominates all the players, etc. So we agreed that Brent would be the voice. And just like Brent said, when it got to 111 and we had the 115 budget, I thought Brent said, fuck them. Like, every other team, like, fuck these guys, you know, we got this. And I'm like, yeah, fuck them. And then it's just silence, and it's like going once, going twice, and then I kind of froze, like, because sometimes he likes to jump in very last second. I'm like, here it comes. And then sold for 111. And yeah, I was not particularly pleased at the moment, but Brent, like, looking at it all now, maybe kind of glad it happened. I don't know. We like to do a Stars and Scrubs daily fantasy, like, strategy. It's a little bit different this year, so I think we have a pretty good spot.
I would say you guys got the poor man's Daniel Negreanu and Jeremy Osmus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Osmus is I think, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but top 3 players that we always want.
Yeah.
Daniel or Deeb or Osmus, and we got one of the 3. So, and I honestly thought Osmus might go for even more than what he went for at 86. I think we may have paid upwards of 95 if we had to for
sure.
Jeremy. Sure.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed, and I guess I'm realizing now that I didn't really understand the way the structure of all this worked. I guess I thought that there was like a hierarchy or a tiers list that they went through when nominating players, but it seems as though it's like pretty random, right? Jeff was saying like Steve Zolotow was nominated like, midway through the draft or whatever and went for $1. So that kind of monkey wrenches things a little bit whenever it comes to budgeting.
Yeah.
In the sense that you can't just like back end all of your fillers. Like when I do the ODB draft, I just draft my low budget players last because I'm just trying to figure out ways to round out the lineup, make sure that I use my entire $200, etc. But I noticed that there was a lot of people with like I was picking on Deeb's team. I was like, I don't get it, man. He has Dan Shack and Steve Zolotow for $1, but he has $33 left in the chamber. Like there wasn't somebody floating around for 34 that would outperform one of these guys. But I guess, Steve was maybe a steal whenever he came up. And then it might have been like a panic buy at the end with Shaq to like fill out the actual roster. Because
it doesn't go, to your point, top to bottom. I mean, right. Negreanu usually goes first and then Deeb goes second. But other than that, it's kind of like a mix and match type thing. So yeah, it's very difficult to prepare for. It's very easy to come in thinking you're going to go with one strategy and then have to completely change things up. Because I think Guapo was saying earlier, like Dario Sammartino, for example, I would say went 3/4 of the way through the draft, and he was a $75 player. So it's just one of the top guys going super late in the draft. So it makes it weird.
There's also a lot of uncertainty surrounding Dario. There's only a couple people that I think have reliable information there. We are not one of them. I actually didn't even try to reach him, but he just had a baby. So is he going to play a full summer? I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows, but it seems to me, given that price, given the way that people were bidding, Maria's team being one of them, and she always has good information, I would suspect that he is, in fact, coming out for the entire summer. But there's always that to keep in mind. Something's going on with everyone's life that is brand new that nobody knows about, hence the baby, right? That changes everything.
The most basic example is like, let's say Phil Ivey was nominated and Daniel started going crazy as far as bidding for him was concerned. I mean, Phil Ivey would be a $120 player. I think he was 19 or something like that. So a lot of it is just scouting what the other team's reaction to certain players are.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know, man. This is really interesting to me. This is obviously the biggest field of teams that have been out there. What was the second biggest?
I think last year Brent was 12 or 13.
What teams?
Yeah, amount of teams.
I thought there were, I don't know. I have to look back. Maybe 14 last year, but this is certainly the largest. And I think next year will be, I wouldn't be surprised if there's 30 teams in it next year.
Wow, sure. Let's go.
Yeah, Brent's right. Last year there were 14. That was the record.
Let's go. Let's start crowdsourcing some teams.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to happen.
Should have been in there.
I mean, now that you guys tuned in for a little bit, I assume, right, with the stream, Berkey?
No? Very, very briefly.
I was there for a good amount of time.
Conrad was waiting to get picked.
No, I love
it's a party
the
in there, man. it's a party. In the way that the whole thing is handled with Daniel running it, it's a very simple setup. Cash bar is open, and obviously everyone's rich now. Apparently, like $25K is like $25.
Inflation, bro.
Yeah.
I just think that, and we got Anson Sang in there with Ren Lin. I think now this thing is trickling over into, into the Asian side too. So I just think that this thing could be pretty big next year.
Oh, we got a Ruski team?
Well,
Right.
He's playing on
Lady
credit.
Gaga. Yeah.
You said that though, and I was thinking last night, looking around the room, like, why doesn't Hustler have a team? Like, I can't believe Feldman and Bertucci didn't just come in and want to blast off and be a part of this whole thing. But I think you're going to start to see that as well, where
I'm glad you brought that up.
Gets
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because there was a lot of shit that went down on Spaces last night, and even though I think most of the show is going to be a celebration of the WSOP, it's worth noting that there's something big going on in LA this weekend as well.
Sure.
So tonight's the final night of the $1 Million Cash Game, and I think to your point, from everything I can tell that surrounds the LA scene as a whole, they really, and this isn't like directed specifically at Hustler, I mean like LA poker scene in a very general sense, it really seems to try hard to segregate itself from what's going on in Vegas, especially MTTs, right? Like there really is no tournament culture in Los Angeles. Like LAPC is dead. I'm sorry. Like I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but what used to be their version of the Winter World Series is just dead and buried. The main event was and has been extremely small since it left WPT. The bike, they run their California Championship, which I believe just concluded, and they do okay. Their big claim to fame, I think, over there is those escalator tournaments or whatever
the
they're
Mega
called.
Millions.
Yeah, where you can play like 25 day ones, and then you can just direct buy into day two for like, I don't know, something like 10x the buy-in or some shit like that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, they're fun. And it's smart. It appeals to a working class. Well, that's not fair, but it appeals to the working man in LA where there's a ton of liquidity. But I think that they're really trying to carve out this special niche of kind of like a high stakes, far removed from the general poker community type of brand, both at Hustler and just in Cali in general. And I would say that they're relatively successful, but with it comes all of this, like, honestly, it makes sense, right? Like when we think about reality TV, where's it all coming from? Mm-hmm. It's all fucking LA, right? It's Lamanna knows all the names of the shows. I'm gonna mix and match a bunch of them
Beverly
together.
Hills.
Buying Beverly Hills. That was my next one coming in, right?
Thank
yeah,
you.
of course.
Yeah,
Selling Sunset.
I was gonna say selling Beverly Hills and buying Sunset. So
You'll get it right.
Not going to
eventually.
help you meet my sister
No,
if
it
you
really
get the name of her
isn't.
show
It really
wrong.
isn't. Listen, you're not getting a date.
look, she
You
doesn't
can't
want
get her
someone
show
in the
correct.
industry, Jeff. Okay, it's nice to be a normal person every once in a while.
I don't know why I brought this up. Please.
I would be like, wow, your brother's Jeff Platt?
I'm pretty sure you already wrote that in our DMs.
Well, relax, bro. Relax. This is why I got that fucking screen protector. People think I'm running GTA Wizard. I'm just out there trying to slide into Jeff's sister's DMs.
Anyway, Berkey.
Yeah, is your mom watching this show?
She might be, man. I don't know.
Is she available?
Jesus. Oh man.
Just say something about my mother. Huss, get his ass.
Too much talking about people's moms.
I'll fucking fight you. I don't care. Oh man, did you guys catch up on any of the cash games over the weekend? Did you watch any of it?
I was watching a little of it. I mean, listen, I think personally it's great if they do well, and I think it's good for them if we do well with the no gamble, no future $1 million buy-in, for example. So I don't see it as like a rivalry or we're rooting against each other. I hope they do well. They crushed it in viewership. For me, I would just personally rather watch tournaments because that's what I play. But
sure.
I acknowledge like how big of a deal that is, and I'm sure Brent especially acknowledges how big of a deal it is to get those guys like actually in their seats for $1 million a piece and maybe more.
Not easy.
Yeah, that's really, really hard to do. As I'm sure now the public is quite aware of, right? They canceled yesterday's game. it was expected to happen yesterday, right? Or was am I wrong there?
Yeah,
No,
it was supposed to
you're
go
right.
off.
Yeah, for sure, you're right. I don't think like all the details are being disclosed, but for anybody who was watching the first 3 days, it was pretty clear that they couldn't keep that level of velocity up through day 4 and day 5. So I think the day off is relatively expected. We knew that the lineup coming in today, whatever was supposed to be yesterday or today, was going to be very, very, very different than what we saw the first 3 days. Tony G had left. We weren't going to see Pav again. They lost Brandon Steven and JRB. Like all the catalysts from day 1 and day 2 were pretty much out the door. I thought the day 3 lineup was the best mix by far. Like not even remotely close. I think day 1 and day 2 was a good example of why it's very important to have professionals in the game that both give action but are comfortable enough in playing a lot of hands that they're willing to facilitate money movement around the table. I thought day 1 and day 2 really lacked any level of competitive sparring between anybody. So it was just a lot of everyone seeing flops, trying to make really good hands, and then getting kind of petrified once big money started to go in. And the big hand that comes to mind is like when Rob turned the nut full house, check called, and then had the second nut full house on the river and was considering a fold versus one bet. It's like, okay, yeah, you guys are playing a different sort of game. But when you insert Huss, when you insert Aussie Matt, and you insert Airball to some degree, even if it's only vocally, it does change the dynamic a lot. Like these people play off of one another. There's a rivalry kind of forming, and I think for tonight's game, it's gonna lack that. Like I don't think anyone's gonna challenge Doug. Airball already said that Saturday was the hardest game that he's ever played in his life, which is insane to me. Insane. He was on Spaces yesterday saying that he was scared. He admitted he was scared money. The stakes were too big, and the game was too tough. And I just think that is like so clear that he's been getting softballs for the last year. It's just like there isn't a single person who thinks that they're good at poker that wouldn't have just like jumped over a dead body to get into that game. And tonight's only going to be tougher, right? Like I don't think that there's any clear spots. Wesley is going to VPIP 10% at most. Airball, Huss is out of the lineup now, so we have Doug, Dwan, Hands, all consummate professionals, and Rob Young. So I think that's the 6. Is there anybody I'm missing?
I'm looking up to see if they posted the lineup yet.
They posted it yesterday at some point.
Is this right? Tom Dwan's playing.
Yeah, Doug, Hands, Wesley, Airball, Rob Young.
And
Ben's
whoever,
out.
Who's Hank?
Hank? Hands.
LSG Hank.
LSG Hank?
Asian
They got a
kid.
new one.
I don't know.
Asian guy named Hank is playing.
Okay, I don't know Hank.
And
Hank?
Rory Young is also playing.
Sure.
I'm not kidding.
Honestly, like, I think that's a little bit fucked up. Just in the sense that Prometheus is a sponsor, and they've been scraping all of the data to all of the games and running it like it's their promotion. They're literally promoting it. So like Rory has all this excess data on everybody that's playing in the lineup that no one else has. It seems like, I don't know, man. It just seems like a bit of a conflict of interest, but maybe I over scrutinize these types of things. But yeah, not a good game. I don't imagine they're going to break any records tonight.
Why is Wesley going on an apology tour about playing sub 13% VPIP after
Well, he got attacked pretty hard. I mean, I don't know if you watched, but him and Huss went pretty hard at one another.
I mean, yeah.
But I don't think he's apologizing. I think he's defending himself.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have said apologize.
Yeah, I think it's very, very different. He's quite defensive of it. What did you guys did you see much of the back and forth?
I didn't see any of it. What was the
No way.
crux of the argument?
Oh my god. Like halfway through, I guess Sunday night's game, Huss had been winning and Wes and Airball were like walking a lot, and both of them were like sub 20% VPIP. So like literally just playing zero fucking hands. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what actually started the banter. I think like Huss was getting a bunch of needles for basically like running really good. And at some point he just like turned his direction towards Wesley. I was like, this fucking guy comes in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, whatever, like talking all this shit, buys in for $3 million to cover the table, and hasn't played a goddamn hand. And he just like doesn't let up. And at some point, Wesley says something like,
he asked what his mother's name is.
well, yeah, it led up to that. Like, I think Huss was basically accusing Wesley of being a trust fund baby or something like that. And Wesley retorted something along the lines of like, did your mother give you the money, or what's your mother's name? And basically Huss just goes, I'd be careful. I don't give a fuck. I'll beat the shit out of you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it just like escalated. I mean, this was like for hours, like 3 hours maybe towards the end of the session. But their viewership spiked. So they were at like 31-ish concurrent for hours. The game was good. You know, like the Rampage bluff was obviously super sick. That brought people in. But it had leveled off. There hadn't been $1 million pot. We still haven't seen $1 million pot. Pretty crazy, all things considered.
Well, they posted one that was a chopped pot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Not great.
that'd be like calling Rampage's pot $1 million pot because he jammed for
the
600.
chips are in the middle,
Right, yeah.
like it counts.
Yeah, so like obviously those don't count. So yeah, like I don't even think we had seen a $500,000 pot since the Rampage hand. So it was pretty lull, but then this fight happened and it spiked from 31,000 to 48,000.
Wow.
Over the course of like 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
Just people started coming in droves. They love the drama, man. They can't get enough of it, you know?
I mean, 48,000 concurrents is pretty strong.
That's a lot. It seems
2,100 people were in spaces last night watching Wesley and Huss talk to each other.
It's absurd. Doug just put out a tweet about an hour ago. He said, not feeling super great today, but I will be showing up at the $1 million game and try to hang in there for the sake of the show. So that's just
Damn, already saving face.
Yeah.
We got the Jordan flu game coming out of Doug.
Yeah, here it comes. Yeah.
Well, he does want to play the biggest pot in Hustler history. I have a 1K side bet with Deeb that the biggest loser tonight will be over $1 million. I think that's like the freest money I've ever made.
You think someone will lose over $1 million?
No
Oh,
fucking
okay, yeah,
chance. I took the under without knowing the lineup. I took the under yesterday this time prior to knowing that the game was even canceled. So basically he was counting on that Doug was going to come in and really ramp up the action. And I was saying that I didn't think that it was going to be a game like that, which I still don't. You know, there's a chance that like he and Hands could get involved in something big, or he and Durr. But I think in general, like most of that money's going to be in lockdown. We're not going to see 1K, 2K, 4K today.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Doesn't
But
seem.
you never know. My boy Juan's in there. Durr might spin shit up. Who knows?
Maybe.
And everybody might just say, okay, whatever. It's fucking Juan asking for it.
I don't know, man. When I played that game with him and Ivy, you would have thought those two weren't even at the table.
Well, they were they?
Well, Ivy literally wasn't.
He literally wasn't at the
He just
table.
literally was not at the table.
And Durr had more money on whatever sports game that was on.
No, that was Ivy's problem. Durr was like floating outside of his body. Like he was just there as a shell of himself, playing zero fucking hands. Yeah, I mean, I'll be watching from the table, but we got a kickoff event today.
It's time to get shit popping,
They're
man.
popping it.
The casino employees event.
That's right.
It's
That's
happening.
right.
Let's go.
Casinos employees event kicking off today. What is it? $500?
Yeah, which is
$500?
actually great,
No,
by the way,
it's
because
awesome.
a lot of people who work for Poker News can jump in there, and so like, it's
What if
good
you
some
have a
viewers can
podcast?
play.
Wow, I should go play it.
I think you have
I mean,
to
they
work
probably
at
just
a
let you.
casino.
I don't know if anybody checks.
Casino.
I don't want to play, but
Casino
Imagine
employee.
Berkey playing the casino employees.
what the fuck? Poker News doesn't work for the casino any more than we do.
That's strong.
I'm
good
trying to
media.
get you in there, Lamanna. What the hell are you scrutinizing me for?
The man has a good point.
You think I want to go
You
play
guys can
it?
play.
Listen,
I do.
I don't want to rain on everybody's parade. I don't want to go in there and just win it.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
I want to
Yeah,
rain.
you do.
I
Yeah,
want
I
to rain
kinda
on
do.
people's parade. I need about 80 right
you
now.
know,
There's a funny story to
just gonna
this.
pluck the million.
Must have been going on 10 years ago now. One of our friends staked another one of our friends for the casino employee event, and he won it. And I believe, and I'm probably
Shout
getting
out
some.
to John Catula.
Yeah. I believe, and I'm probably getting some of these details wrong, but I think that there was a big discrepancy between the two of them over what happened to the bracelet. Or like
Really?
the value of the bracelet, of like,
Oh,
if it should be.
man.
What?
Well,
Listen.
it was Ford.
Yeah.
He's about the guy.
They cut it in half.
The guy that nicknamed you the devil?
Yeah, that is the one and only.
Call me
Well,
the
to be
devil.
fair, Lamanna.
He didn't nickname.
Lamanna nicknamed himself the devil.
Oh my God! Stop.
John just kept it going.
No, he didn't nickname me the devil. He's the one that said that I was self-proclaimed the devil, which is also
You
not
believe
true.
this, Jeff? Brian nicknamed himself the
Listen.
devil.
Yeah.
This is what's gonna happen in like 10 years from now. I'd be like, this guy who came in, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna call myself the tortoise. And somehow it's gonna be like I came up with the tortoise nickname.
Don't worry,
I didn't
buddy.
come up with the devil nickname. I didn't come up with the tortoise nickname. I just get nicknames.
Brent,
and
you
that's
tell
it.
me. You've known Lamanna a long time. You tell me what you think actually happened here.
know,
Now,
this- I don't
according
like
to
this-
folklore,
This bit is folklore. That's a very good Taylor Swift album.
of course, according to folklore, old Brian was grinding up in Johnstown, PA. You know, those
Yeah.
underground. Mike World's place, who ultimately went to jail for killing his wife.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly. He's in
He's in jail.
He's convicted.
Wait,
Yeah.
no, wait, what? This guy's running a game and he ended up what?
Bro,
What?
this is actually a fan. We should do a whole episode on this someday. There was a Dateline about it. So he was originally from Michigan, I believe, right? Moved to Johnstown, PA, got
This
remarried.
is John Catula's step.
Yeah. Is the stepdad to the guy we're talking about, the One Thing Employees event. And his past caught up with him once we had moved out to Vegas, where it seemed as though in his first marriage, he was a suspect for having killed his wife. And then, somewhere around 2009,
It was a
2010.
cold case for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And then,
So you
and then
guys
they-
played with him the whole time in between?
The
I
whole
went
time.
on trips with him. Literally the nicest guy. No, we went to Atlantic City. We went to Vegas together.
I always had a
Like, yeah.
sus meter on him, man. I never fucking liked him. We played together a lot, and like he just made some sideways comments to me that I never liked. So we used to play in he owned a comic book shop, and he ran a game out of there, and he had his own chips. And his name was Mike World, which obviously had to be an alias.
No, because
Or that's
his-
what we called him, I guess.
No, because he owned a comic book store called Comics World.
Oh, okay, right.
They called it, his name was Mike, and they called it
Right.
Mike
Okay.
World.
So on the chips, it was like World's chips or something along those lines. And I took one day, and when we were driving home, I looked at Lamanna and I go, "The world is mine, bitch."
You have that chip somewhere?
I
You
do.
got it.
I absolutely do.
Oh, man.
It's a relic. But anyway, Brent, folklore says that Lamanna was grinding up in that Johnstown game and had a set of sixes. And when he rolled it over, he goes, "Call me the devil."
Now,
This
I
nickname
always
actually.
thought that was true because I've heard Lamanna repeat that line over the years, especially when he's drunk, where he'd say,
This is
"Oh
such
man,
bullshit.
devil," over and over, and I didn't know the exact origins.
Now you know.
You guys, it started with Devilfish. It started in college because they said I played like Devilfish. You're like Devilfish because he always wins. And then, a short
Because of the glasses you were wearing.
Call me the devil.
Yep.
I don't
Call
know,
me the
man.
tortoise.
I think there's some truth to this one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. WSOP, great time.
Kickoff event for you today.
Takeoff event.
I will be playing the 25K 6 max.
Let's go.
How many runners do we think it gets? First event of the year. What do we think?
Great question.
Oh my God, that is unbelievable.
Yo, Tortua.
We're a little behind.
It's the tortoise devil.
We didn't have we had the delayed reaction to that, but that was amazing.
I think it gets over 150.
That's a lot of people.
In the prize pool?
No.
I'm
Six
thinking
people?
it gets like, I would set a line at 200.5.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lot
That's
of people.
good. No, I think it's.
I mean, I
that's-
think last year's
it's the-
25K, and now it's full table or 8 max or whatever.
Well, I think
It's the
6 max
first
is more
event, though.
popular.
Okay, well, yeah. Last year's 25K high roller got 251.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And was it the same one
Way low
re-entry?
volume. Yep.
Was that was
Yeah, because
Probably.
I fired it
Oh,
twice.
okay.
Yeah, you did.
You would know.
Yeah.
You have a second bullet allotted for this one?
I'm not doing it.
Just one?
I just took a big chunk of the first one. And by big chunk, I mean way too much.
Like
way
all-
too much for a recreational tournament player.
Yeah, like
All
all
right.
of it.
All right, so
But to be fair, I said I was only going to take one, or I was only going to play one bullet last year.
Yeah.
And then I busted in a way that I wasn't happy about at
Right.
a table that was really good. And I said,
So you
nah, I'm
decided to
rebound.
dust off another 25K.
Yeah.
I was definitely about to say, what's the over under that if you bust, he rebuys. I would say like it's minus 135.
Yeah.
I can't be that big of a favorite to re-enter.
Yes, you are.
Come on.
You are. You're just
Are you
100%
doing
out.
a time
You love
or are you
the
doing Max Late Reg?
No, I'm going to be there from hand one.
100. I'm sorry. It is minus 250.
Well, here's the problem with your line is that for me to re-enter, then I have to make a very prudent decision of what makes more sense: coming back in at the point that I bust, or max late regging day 2.
And you'd go get. Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, if you decide to max late red day 2, you might just not do it.
no, the opposite.
No, he 100% does it.
I think the opposite. I think if I decide to max late reg day 2 and it looks like it's a super juicy spot where only a quarter of the field remains and you start with 20 bigs, then there's a much better chance that what I'm getting at is there's a good chance that I only plan to fire one. I bust today, call it quits, and then see tomorrow that only 20% of the field remains.
Yeah.
And I can max late reg and
15 bigs, by the way.
oh, okay.
Tomorrow.
Well,
Just
we
if-
spin.
Yeah.
So that's when you'll be in there, is what you're saying.
No. But if you do make the final table of this event, I will be doing the sideline reporting. So we will have a chat at that final table
Okay.
on Poker Go.
Wow.
Will it be streamed?
It will indeed be streamed,
Damn.
as that will kick off, Brent, I believe 47 straight days of streaming.
Man,
Right.
I was
Yeah.
really hoping it wouldn't be streamed.
How are you
That
taking Eden Rock's job? Isn't he the
You know,
sideline reporter?
I've heard a lot about Eden Rocks. I have not tuned in, but I think
Me neither.
I think it's Kara Scott, and then me, Natalie Bodie's going to be with us this summer, Mincy, and then whoever.
Eden.
And yeah, sure.
Now, I don't believe that Mincy is going to be a live reporter for the CBS broadcast.
No. But he'll be walking around talking to people with a
Definitely.
camera.
Yeah, 100% going to be a live reporter doing his own thing, mingling with Mincy, and he's going to grab anyone and everyone that he can find playing
In any
all
event.
sorts of buy-in levels. Doesn't matter if it's televised or not. He's got his own producer. Mincy's going to be something else.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I just had to tell Conrad something. What are you guys going to be doing as far as your play schedule goes?
For me, it kicks off tomorrow with the Tournament of Champions.
That's
very
right.
exclusive event.
Yeah, very
Exclusive!
Very exclusive.
all
yeah.
all 990
How
of
do
you.
you get into the Tournament of Champions?
It's a great question, Brian. Thank you so much for asking. You have to win either a World Series of Poker circuit ring, which I did, as I'm sure many of you all are aware, last fall, or a World Series of Poker bracelet. But since last year's TOC was post WSOP, it was just that 2-week window or so of online WSOP bracelet events. So there are this year 990 potential qualifiers. So I think 750 to 800 will play. And then other than that, I'll play, I think I have room to play like 5 or 6 events, mostly work for me, but I'll mix in some of the 1500s to 3Ks. But Brent, this is like the only time of year that Brent plays poker. So what
playing
you
one?
got, Mr. Hanks?
I'm going to play 20K worth of buy-ins plus the main event. That is my plan. So I'm going to blast off on this mystery
Same.
bounty thing.
Jeff,
Yeah.
are you playing the main?
I cannot play the main due to sideline reporting rules. Again, don't mean to brag. Pretty cool.
Does Poker Go pay you for your expected main salary?
You know what? I'm going to bring that up. Thank you very much,
I think
Conrad.
that,
Very, very good point
that's
there,
gotta be at
Conrad.
least an extra 6 figures a year,
Brett,
right?
what do you think? You're pretty high up on the totem pole. You think we can work that out?
I'm sorry. I missed the payment for what?
Well, just like, if I would have played the main, then I would have gone deep in the main and
He wants
paid
his
a lot of money.
ROI.
And
He
so,
wants his
like,
ROI for missing
yeah.
the main.
His ROI is like what, 2,000% in the main?
at
least,
least.
at
I mean, I
least,
finished
yeah.
60th one year.
Yeah,
so
let's
I
say if you
would
give,
finish top
If
60
you could just
again.
tack on $250,000
Yeah, that
bonus,
would be fine.
If you give him half
in
of
the
his-
end of July every year for old Jeff over there, that'd be great.
yeah, give him half of his expected
I don't
ROI.
understand. I mean, Nick Schulman gets to play the main event, and he's also doing the broadcast. So why can't you also play the main event, do sidelines on your off days, and then if you make a run, Natalie could be sidelines? You couldn't work that out with your contract?
I have learned that Nick Schulman has slightly more pull than I do within Poker Go. But the main event is my favorite job of the year by far, so I don't even...
Oh, Jeff, you
I don't even wanna
downplay it. You downplay it. You would love to be in there. in the mix.
Well, of course, it's the greatest poker tournament in the world.
Imagine being on
by
the main
far.
stage in the Thunderdome,
Oh.
day 5 with Conrad Simpson to your left, Ivy to your right.
But I can do that now, guaranteed.
That's
I'll
true.
be there. I'll be up on stage talking to Conrad. It's
That
happened
is true.
before.
You do have a good point. I'm excited for our talks this year.
I feel like maybe you're just overinvested in this Can You Please Stand Up bit, and you could actually have a...
Got a little overplayed, didn't it?
Oh,
last
no,
year?
I think it's great, but I'm just saying, maybe you could have an understudy so that you could actually
Okay.
fire a day 1.
Okay. Yeah, Natalie, perhaps. We're switching off emceeing duties for Mystery Bounty, so I'll be there on Sunday, I believe, is day 2 of the Mystery Bounty. And
correct.
so
Is
first
that when you
5
start
hours.
pulling the things?
Yeah,
'Cause
That's it.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on.
Not until
Are you-
after 4 p.m.
Maybe Conrad could be your understudy. I mean, the likelihood both of you make a day 2 or day 3 is pretty low. You could
Listen,
have...
Dusty, calm down. All
You
right?
could have the Please Stand Up bit, and if you're still in, he has the Let's Get It Poppin'.
That might work.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You're not playing the Mystery Bounty?
Correct.
All right, so now poker go. Now we're really talking.
Yeah.
Because you're a
so
really
it-
lucky guy. Because
Yeah,
you're
I
not
would've
good at
just
poker.
drawn-
You win tournaments. Like you won Tournament of Champions. You won MSBT.
No argument here.
So
Yeah.
like you're a really lucky guy. So like I think you deserve at least 50% of a Mystery Bounty as well.
Yeah, 50% of one of the gold chests.
Yeah, gold
but,
chest.
But Conrad, the thrill of being there on stage when you pull the $1 million, I mean, that's
That-
priceless.
That is true. That is true. I already actually started preparing myself this year by
Okay.
putting out a word for word glance tweet. And he put
Oh,
out
that was
last
smart.
year.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was you were the first one to do that.
Yeah,
That was genius.
Obviously, it means something, So you got to be sharp in this game, man.
I'll see you guys on stage, or Natalie will.
Do you guys have any pre-WSOP traditions that you like to go forward with the day before,
Go in the hot tub.
day of?
I used to like to actually wait in line to register, as stupid as that sounds.
what the
I feel
fuck
like
did you
it's like
say?
it's like
I get
romantic.
it. Yeah, it is.
You know,
yeah.
you get to the World Series, you wait in line, you take the cash out of your pocket, you put it on the table.
Real rite of
Like,
passage.
yeah, and you're in there, and they give you the ticket, and it's great. But this year I'm not going to do that.
Fast pass.
Yeah.
Fast track.
Hanks, you do anything?
I just told you my schedule.
No. You're like any rituals to get amped up?
No, I mean, man, those rituals are long gone. Now it's change a few shitty diapers, get down there on time, and hope that it's a late evening. I don't have any rituals, man.
Lamanna, you?
Well, we would watch Rounders, but I think that was before the main event, right? Isn't that? I know we were trying to organize a Rounders watch at your place, but
There's
I
no
think-
sacrificial tortoise or anything.
No, we don't sacrifice
Okay.
tortoises. No, you leave the tortoises alone.
Yeah, free the tortoise.
Why don't you get a desert like a pet tortoise?
Wow.
I could.
I could.
I don't know how my 2 dogs would react to it.
You can hang out right here. We can make a nice
That is
little.
true.
We can make a nice little thing for him, case, and you know.
You just see Chauncey just on top of the shell, just walking.
There definitely are desert tortoises, right?
Yeah, there are.
Wait, what movie did I just watch where there was a tortoise in the dry? I think it was a Kevin Hart movie. They ran it over with the car.
What?
But he survived. It was okay.
Oh, everything.
Tortoises are resilient.
I think it was a Netflix special. I have 2 traditions. We used to watch Rounders the night before always. That tradition seems to have died. Maybe that's why we didn't do well last year.
Wow.
Speak for yourself.
True.
I mean, I broke even, but that's not doing well.
I did not do well.
The second one is, and I'll put this tweet up before the 2 p.m. 25K. I always recite the grind, like word for word in a tweet. It's so good. If you guys haven't seen it, TCU's The Grind 2012. It's just it might be one of the most masterful written things I've ever seen in my entire life. Just really makes you want to run through a brick wall, you know? And I think that's what we're all here to do. We're here to run through a goddamn brick wall.
That's right.
57 days or however fucking long
Let's
it
go.
is. Rise and shine. 6 a.m. I can't make it to the alarm clock before the voices in your head start telling you that it's too dark, too cold. Yeah, I'm looking forward to I tweeted this earlier. I'm looking forward to taking more of a Rex mindset into the series this year. Just kind of laid back, no pressure, don't need to win anything. It's not about the money.
That's how you win.
It's not about
That's how you win.
It's not about playing well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about studying.
About being there, man.
You know, it's not about
Just
ICM.
enjoy the moment. Enjoy
It's
the
just
Getting
make
those
a deep
chips in your
run.
hand.
Yeah.
You know?
And you need to be there for the people, like for the fans. You need to show up and this is the World Series of Poker. This is what people travel in for, and it'll be like, oh my God, there's Matt Berkey. Like,
They can wander
so cool.
their happy asses over to the Bellagio.
They aren't coming to Bellagio.
Bro,
Nobody
They're
wants
gonna
to
come
go
sweat
to
a
that
cash
they're
cow.
coming to the Bellagio. We got kicked out of Bobby's room because they're running 3K, 6K mix every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I heard that those games are going to be huge this summer, the mixed games.
By the way, I saw Mercier yesterday. He fucking looks good, man.
Yeah.
He looks good. Lost some weight, got in shape, shaved the head, shaved the beard. Kid looks like he's on a mission. Now,
Wait, he's in Vegas already?
he's only here for 4 days. He's just playing the 3K, 6K.
I just doesn't think he wants to be recognized after those tweets.
I swear to God, he walked up and I did not know who he was. He goes, "You looked right through me." I'm like, "You don't look like the same man."
It's incognito.
Yeah.
He didn't text me, prick. I just texted him now. Told me he was letting me know when he was coming.
Rick, he said, that's not very nice of you.
Well,
You know, I will say there is a tradition unlike any other that has presented
The
itself
Masters?
for this World Series of Poker. And Jeff knows perhaps what I'm going after, but with the Golden Knights now making the Stanley Cup,
Let's go.
Go, Knights, go.
Knights, go.
that now equals myself and Jeff attending a Stanley Cup game with Daniel, where we will black out, come back to the horseshoe at the end of the game, and that's where Daniel will put me in some ridiculous tournament
Perfect.
where I can quote unquote burn his money.
can't confirm
is
this
going to
happened.
happen.
This happened the last time that they made the Stanley Cup championship, or the Western Conference championship. It was a 5K. The Daniel ended up coming out blacked out drunk.
Oh, these guys were hammered.
And just running up a fucking massive stack. He torched Chino's face. Just absolutely obliterated the man. Couldn't see straight. There's just no way he knew he was even in the building.
Do we have a hand history?
I don't remember. It's on his vlog from 2000 and what was that? 2019, Brent? I think right before the
I
pandemic.
think was it that?
I think it was
No,
the
I thought it
fall
was-
series of 2021.
You might be right. 21, yeah.
Yes,
And it was just like a regular
I think it was a
season.
regular
Golden
season
Knights.
game.
Yeah.
Brent and I were talking about this because it wasn't last summer, of course.
Oh yeah, because
No, you're right. You're
yeah,
right,
you might be right.
Yeah.
It would have been one of the first games.
You're right. It was the last time it was at the Rio.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we had
yeah,
our
yeah,
RV.
exactly.
Yeah, we had our RV. So you're definitely right. Yeah. So even worse, it was just a fucking random Thursday. And these two idiots went out and got just like front row hammered drunk. Brent managed to put 2 bullets into the 5K,
Yeah.
10 big blinds at
And
a
I
time.
bubbled.
Did you really?
Yeah, I made day 2 or whatever it was, and I ended up finishing soft bubble, like 15 short of the money.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you could have just bought in at that point and still been 15 short of the money, Brent.
Is that
Negroni
true?
would have sobered up by then, though.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
put him in.
That's true. No, I don't think that was true then, but there was a 5K tournament. It might have been 2018 where you could max late reg and be 8 out of the money. And I just remember I did it and I ended up like stone bubbling it in a spot where I was kind of the asshole. I called it off with ace queen. I had the best hand, not that that was relevant, but
Kind of an asshole?
yeah, I had like 15 or 18 bigs.
Yeah, no, that's
I
not
could have
kind.
cashed.
That's not kind of.
I could
man.
have cashed.
That's a complete asshole.
Yeah.
I could-
Not tortoise approved, let me tell you.
Go for the win.
I was very much in my ICM is for 4 people stage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taught a lesson or two.
Yep.
I deserved it.
Deserved
Chewy
it.
was at my table. He saw the whole thing. I'm sure he's just still to this day is like this fucking
so
guy.
disappointed.
I held you in high regard. What are you doing?
I'm surprised he didn't ask you if you wanted some bracelet odds.
Chewy?
Yeah.
No, come on,
After
man.
seeing that.
Nobody wants the asymmetric downside. You can't blame them.
So no bracelet bets.
No bracelet
It's
bets.
official.
Yeah.
Lee Jones
Very
wants
sad.
to know, in the 3K, 6K mixed games, is there a fish or is it just a bunch of crushers just slugging it out?
Really good question. It's all well-known names. That's the best way I can answer it.
So yes, there is some fish.
Well, I don't know shit about mixed games, so I personally could never like qualify anybody as a fish, but I know how cash games work, and the assumption is that someone thinks someone else sucks.
Yeah, somebody's losing big.
Well, I don't even know if someone's losing big, but for sure, two people in that game think each other suck.
That's true.
And that's all it really takes. As long as like two people think that each other sucks and the rest of them agree that at least one of them sucks, the game runs.
Yep, that's true.
The game will just go. But honestly, like those guys are sick enough and rich enough where maybe they just all think that they're the top dog. That's the other way it'll run, right? Is if the lineup's super tough, but you think you're the best one in it, the game just goes. All 6 guys think they're the fucking number 1 top dog. We run it.
True.
You know, we just roll.
Is Person back in the mix, or is he done?
I believe he's done. I didn't see him in there. I saw Patrick. I saw Mercier. A few other.
Kruk, Seaver.
Don't think I saw Kruk. I didn't look that closely though. To be fair, I just did a quick walk by, as I almost accidentally walked in thinking it was our game.
Wait, so you guys are upstairs now?
Yeah.
You guys are like the low budget room.
Kind of. I kind of enjoy it. They blocked it all off for us. So like 1020's on the floor now.
Oh, nice. So you have the whole upstairs.
Yeah. So we have 4 tables to ourselves. We're probably going to get 3 games every day.
That's pretty fucking
maybe
crazy.
a 4th. There's like a little lounge area now.
That's insane.
It's really nice, especially during the series where like table space is prime.
Yeah.
It's noisy as fuck though. That's probably the only downside. And then it's also just like much more accessible.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fine. Like I don't care about foot traffic or any of that stuff, but you know, when you're playing, you often have reload chips
Right
behind
you,
or
yeah.
whatever. So like you have to be a little bit more on guard about all that stuff because the Bellagio is not going to protect you in any capacity.
Yeah.
You know, you go to the bathroom, you got to put the chips on the table, and even that isn't really saving you from getting them stolen. It's just better for the camera, I guess.
Yeah.
Are
In
you,
hopes of recovery.
Berkey, are you getting in the main game? Are you in the good one? Or are you kind of in the feeder?
I don't think I'll be able to get into the main game much, if ever. But the other 2 games should be pretty good, and it works way better for my schedule because the main game starts at 10, and you kind of have to be there on time if you want to play it. Where I can get a little bit of leeway and just come at noon for the secondary games, which allows me to still do this every morning. Pretty important, you know. We gotta bring these WSOP updates, even though. I won't be necessarily in the mix.
We gotta get it popping.
Can you pick a team?
Oh yeah, right.
What team?
A team to
I'm
go
gonna
up against Team No Gambling.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little crossbow.
Same. I want $100 on team, but I'm taking somebody off their team and I'm putting me.
Okay, that's fair.
Deal.
Yeah,
Brent, that's fair, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
It's definitely not unfair.
You guys are out of your fucking mind. I'll make everybody pay.
That's right.
God
I
damn
did
it.
want to let you know some news that WSOP just released. Perhaps you already covered it. It's breaking to me, but they just announced a policy and solver concerns that clarifying the RTA policy at the World Series of Poker.
Oh, this is huge. Go on.
There's an article on Poker News that just came out, and I quote, "If caught using RTA or GTO software during a hand, a player will be subject to penalty up to and including a disqualification trespass penalty." WSOP said in a prepared statement, "We reserve the right to further penalize a player for using RTA/GTO in any other situation, and our sole and absolute discretion. Players may continue to use their device to play WSOP.com or use the Caesars Sportsbook app while out of a hand."
So I have a question. So while you're out of a
Gotta
hand,
get that sports bet in while you're in
Yeah,
the
I love
hand.
that. I love that. Caesars
oh,
PR looked at it. They're like,
can't,
maybe throw in one thing about the sports book.
It's about to, tip off. So it's like I gotta get
so
this in before.
if
I
you're
fold.
out of a hand, are you allowed to look up a spot? I don't understand.
That's why they
I think they left it ambiguous
Yeah.
on
I would
purpose.
not risk
Yeah.
it.
That's
I'll
what
tell
I
you
think.
that
So.
much right now. I would
So they
not
basically
risk
left it ambiguous on purpose. They said if it happens in a hand, it's automatic DQ. If you are caught
Or
using
subject
it,
to penalty, which could
Right.
include DQ.
right?
I don't
yes.
think you would.
Sorry,
the
yeah,
first time.
you're correct. And then if something happens out of a hand, it's TD's discretion, which honestly I think is a really shitty fucking way to go about it. And it's everything that I've been fighting against, because now not only do you have to put the onus on players to police this and bring it to the TD, but now you put the TD in a position to have to make a ruling on he said, she said And so much favoritism and bias can be levied in this type of situation, right? So if a known player who has really high standing in the WSOP that wouldn't make for really great PR if he got, DQ'd from an event or something like that, gets accused of having looked up a spot previously. And, my point is it's very easy for the TD to just go like, okay, it's your word versus his. Like, let's move on. If it happens in a hand, let me know. We'll DQ him, right? Where alternatively, if it's like, Joe the Plumber Rec, who is most likely to be using GTO Wizard in between hands because he has the least amount of confidence in the spots and is looking for peace of mind. And, somebody to his left goes, I'm going to tattle on you. And, maybe he's forthright and says, yeah, I was looking up a spot from an hour ago or something like that. He might just get DQ'd. I don't know. Like, I think that like publicly creating more gray area only makes the matter worse, in my opinion. In spite of the fact of it being worded in such a way that it's meant to be a deterrent.
Yeah. So just to add a little bit to this, yesterday, Jeff, actually, the two of us took part in a conversation inside the studio prior to the draft. Jack Effel joined in on the call. The founder of GTO Wizard, Matt, was in on the call. Chance Corneth was there. Chris Brewer was in attendance. Maury, Paul Campbell, Ryan Kirk at the ARIA, Tim Duckworth, Donnie Peters. We had a lengthy discussion, about an hour, about what's happening, the state of solvers and tools and tech, and the inevitable evolution and development of what's going to continue to happen with this sort of technology. And Dana Negreanu was also on the call as well. We knew what WSOP was going to do, and I think that what was just addressed makes sense, right? Anything during a hand is unacceptable and should be an immediate disqualification. And I think that's really the message.
Happy that was clear.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's the immediate message that's being, sent to players, is that don't fuck around with this, because if you are using it and there's live cards in front of you, they can DQ you and you're done for the World Series of Poker indefinitely. You won't play another event. So I think that's the loud message being sent here. In between hands, walking down the hallways, you want to reference your tools, your charts, look up spots. Everything I've read and from what I understood yesterday, there's not going to be any issue with that. But it's just something to keep an eye on. And I think it's important that these types of discussions happen within the industry amongst groups that kind of clarifies, and we get to the bottom of fully understanding the tools that are available. The public perception right now, when they saw that article at the Gardens last week, I'll use my dad as an example, was that, oh, wow, you can just be on your phone and cheat and know exactly what to do the next hand. And you can use this online, right? But anyone that knows these tools and actually uses them realizes that's really not the case, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the conversation as to what I think led to this.
And to your point, that's what I've been so vocal about, is the FUD that's been being pressed so hard. Like, there's just no control of the spin, and anybody who's not in the know thinks that it's the equivalent of having like a card when you're playing blackjack that tells you when to hit and when you don't. And it's like so much more robust than that, and so much more difficult to actually get accurate answers for anything that's about to happen in real time. And I guess secondary to that, I think it's really important for people to understand that this notion that recreationals have no idea that these tools exist or what they are, and that they're intimidating to the average Joe is like verifiably false. A huge chunk of the training market, specifically GTO Wizards, is recreational players. And I think that like we need to lose this arrogance of don't tap the glass, and keep the dumb money dumb, and don't let them know what they're missing out on. I think that it's just like a lot of pros that feel like they need to protect their edge in some sort of capacity, and then reframe it as well, it's actually all of the elite players who are just edge seeking tiny little grains of cents on the dollar that they can make further down the line. I don't think that's true at all. I think like now is the most important time to have this conversation because we're not yet to the point where these tools are a danger to the live environment, right? But there's a future where that certainly could be the case. And I think putting in measures now to help police the future or prevent the future case from being problematic is really critical. Like we can be forward thinking here. And one of the big points that I was trying to make is that the easiest way to ensure that these tools are far less powerful to anybody without having to seize phones, without having to police people's privacy, is to just speed up play. If you can just speed up the rate at which hands are dealt, then immediately the downtime where people could be utilizing these tools nefariously goes away. If you are able to execute a proper shot clock, if you're able to execute the 15-second action clock pre, immediately the threat of these apps gets at least lessened at a bare minimum. And I think that like the problem is that the community still has loud voices that are saying faster play is bad and that somehow this turns off recreationals. Like, guys, we are in an absolute growth period, and the only thing we can do to ensure that that doesn't continue is to shoot ourselves in the foot and find a way to make the game so unbeatable for new money that they have no choice but to leave because they went broke. Because people will often do things that aren't in their best interest, even if it optically isn't the most pleasant thing in the world, right? But they'll immediately leave when they have no more money to ante up. And I think putting, new money, recreationals, all of this, the lifeline of the game that we all desperately need in order for it to grow, putting them in a threatening environment where, the better player has infinite amount of time to act. The better player is smart enough to stall in times where stalling makes money. All of this stuff, it's so much more detrimental to the bottom line of the average player than any tool that can be utilized in between hands. And it's definitely not close. Maybe I'm alone in that thought, but I just think that this is the obvious fix.
I think that's fair. Chris Brewer made a great point yesterday. The discussion, by the way, was so. I just thought it was so important to have so many great minds. I was not one of those great minds, but everyone else around me were just brilliant about how about how this world works. And I forgot to mention Andrew Lichtenberger, Lucky Tree, was also on the call. Chris Brewer said that. If you think about like the PGT, what we're doing, and that was really the focal point heading into this meeting prior to Jack then joining us as far as what the WSOP would implement. You're talking about the biggest buy-ins, the biggest prize pools, and essentially the top 1% of No Limit Hold'em tournament players that are competing inside of our studio in Triton events, right? That's where I think this matters. Maybe not the most, but I think that was our concern going into yesterday. And Chris Brewer said that, if someone's going to go out of their way to use technology and tools to cheat, essentially, or to have a bigger edge, they're certainly not going to use their phone.
Right.
That's in front of them, right? It's going to be something else that we are not seeing. It's going to be something else where this guy has enough money to invest and implement something else that is giving him this edge. It's not happening, at least not that any of us are concerned about, but that's what you have to your point, Berkey, look forward to, because eventually the tech and the tools will be here and it's going to happen, right? And I think that's why this sort of conversation, whether it's everyone combined, WSOP, PGT, WPT, Triton, all together and aligned, but it's that discussion is so important. And I think that's ultimately what you were saying is we need to revisit this every year and just take a look at the entire landscape as to how it's changing and address what needs to be, implemented at that time.
Yeah. I think that I'm happy to see a statement made pre-World Series. I'm happy that they're taking a hard stance for in hand. I don't really know what to think about leaving it up to discretion. I think that.
I see later in the article that Jack told Poker News that pre-flop charts are fair game to consult at the table in between hands. He did kind of like Brent mentioned, which was the more casual fans approach, like, oh my God, you can find out every single spot in 2 seconds on your phone. He did say, let me just read the statements. It's not confusing. Ethel, who mentioned GTO Wizard by name, told Poker News that GTO solvers differ in their capabilities from other poker training tools like preflop charts that are fair game to consult at the table in between hands.
That's unfortunate.
That's going to be a problem.
That's
man.
unfortunate because it seems like he doesn't understand what GTO Wizard is.
Right. And so my impression, Brent, yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack just wanted to kind of leave the door open for anything where a tournament director could come in and penalize. Like, he was worried about making a very specific rule, besides the one that when you're in a hand, that you cannot be on your phone, period, it's over. And so I think when he opened the door with the GTO Wizard and he's kind of confusing the things, that's not great. So hopefully that gets kind of
right,
shored
because
up.
because I mean the thing is that if you're allowing pre-flop charts in between hands, GTO Wizard can serve that function.
Yeah.
Right.
So my question is this: is how do you? So for instance, I don't know what the user interface looks like on GTO Wizard, but who's to say that somebody who's sitting right next to them doesn't know the difference and just says, "Hey, like this guy's using
it would look
GTO
the
Wizard."
same, and then
someone's actually on
over.
GTO Wizard, but they're using the pre-flop chart.
Well, I mean, this has been what I said the entire time, is that this is unenforceable.
Yeah, it seems like the door is not just wide open. It's
no
like,
one's getting 86th off the word of your of your neighbor to the left. Like, it's such an easy angle. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I have a fucking killer to my right and he's making to my left and he's making my life uncomfortable right now. Like, hey, I saw him use a chart. You know what I mean? And who's the burden of proof on at this point?
Yeah, I don't expect any kind of penalties for any usage in between hands, but they will be more stricter. They will tell their dealers, many of which are new, to be very strict on being on your phone during a hand, and that will be subject to harsher penalties right off the bat.
Less playing online or making a bet.
Well, unless you're on WSOP.com, which they made sure to say.
Yeah.
Caesar Sportsbook.
That's why I think that, like, look, this all happened right before the series, so they weren't going to come up with a great conclusion. But I think that this restrictive mindset of like, oh, we're going to add more restrictions than moving forward is not the right approach, because we're going the opposite route. We're going the untethered route. We're saying that there are even exceptions to being on your phone in the hand. So it's really challenging now to police something that we are less strict on now than ever, right? At some point, we just have to say, like, look, we're allowing like full usage of the phone in most situations. So we're just going to assume the phone is absolutely unpoliced. Yeah. How then can we best protect the integrity of the game?
I think the main reason for this being put out it is just for a deterrent, and it should be a deterrent, right?
Yeah.
It should
Optics
be
are
a
a big part
deterrent.
of it.
Like just don't be using this software while you're sitting at the table.
No cheating.
At all. Right, just don't do it, and then you don't have nothing. You don't have anything to worry about, right? So it's like, I think that them putting that out at this time is the deterrent that hopefully will, discourage people from even attempting to do it.
Yeah, a little push. What we need.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it, but I have problems with that. Obviously,
Yeah.
I think it's creating policy just for the sake of policy is shitty.
I'll give you an analogy that Daniel used that I think is very good. It's jaywalking is a law, right?
Right.
We almost all of us are guilty of breaking that law and not abiding by jaywalking, unless, of course, there's a police officer within sight. You're not going to jaywalk. You don't want to get a ticket, and you're not going to break the law. So it's something like that, I think, where you're probably fine using GTO Wizard, and you might look at it, stand up away from the table, be in between hands as you look around, and you don't think anyone can come after you. But the moment you see someone from the floor making their walk, you're going to be discouraged, as Lamanna stated, from pulling that out and from using it. And I think it's as simple as that. It's maybe we discourage the use by making a statement such as this.
Yeah, I think the social pressure was already there. I think that the notion of like potentially getting caught with two tables left whenever there's only 18 people in your local area, like I think the likelihood that anybody was consulting these charts in those situations was so incredibly low. And also like what went unaddressed, which is another big factor, is when these major final tables come down, you're going to have a rail, and what you do away from the table can't possibly be policed.
Right. No.
Right? I mean, what if you have 100, like let's say 20 cameras on you, 100 lights, would that discourage you from cheating?
I mean, you would think.
I mean, some people like to look at other people's hands in game. A lot of people aren't discouraged from everything.
Yeah, right.
You're never going to discourage everybody. Of course.
I think the point Conrad's making is that the people that are discouraged are the ones that were least likely to cheat to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm glad that it's a topic that's up for conversation. I'm glad that it's not, or I hope that this doesn't shelve the conversation, because this is not a fix in my opinion. It's
a start.
It's a start, right?
Yeah, it's a start. It's like you gotta walk before you run.
Yeah.
It's 2 days before the World Series, like whatever.
I'm not complaining about the rule in place.
Yeah.
I just think that like this needs to grow into something much, much more sophisticated.
And I think it will.
Yeah.
Just as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell you that I am picking
Okay.
Team Jewish plus a Conrad minus a Nikki P.
Wow.
That is the actual name of the team, just to clarify.
Which Nikki P got booted?
Petrangelo.
Wow.
Beat it, bud.
Jesus.
Petrangelo out, Conrad
bud.
in.
Connie in.
Team Jewish with Dan Zach, Scott Seaver, Felipe Ramos, Punat Punzeri, Conrad Simpson, Andrew Lichtenberger, Artur Martirosyan, and Big Hooney.
I'll tell you what.
Let's get it popping, man.
I'll tell you what. I'll also take that squad.
With Conrad?
But I would prefer to keep Petrangelo.
I really hope that he loses.
That's the difference. The difference is Conrad's to Petrangelo's score. That'd be the dream.
God, if I ever had more fucking
We'd be thrilled
fuel,
to pay you. Yeah.
If I've ever had more fuel ever.
What would you like to wager?
Brent?
I mean, you're the CEO and the businessman.
That's true. CEO and president of business operations. How about 1K?
Oh, okay. I
Not what
wasn't
we can
thinking monetary, but sure.
Oh. Well, we can think
But
of
Jeff's
other.
got to get unstuck, so maybe 1K.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll do
All right, you got it.
100
You got it for one
and,
dime.
and some type of funny.
Yeah, we'll think of the funny before next
We'll
week.
do one dime and then a wheel, a spin on the wheel.
Yeah. Love it.
And we can all combine, fill out the wheel.
Love it.
No mayonnaise.
It's a part of the wheel.
Fucking not your wheel. It's my wheel. Okay, we have our own goddamn wheel. All right, let's go, Team Danzak.
Let's go Jewish
I
plus a Conrad.
I can't do it.
Let's
man.
get it popping, man.
You know, I'm disappointed.
go.
I'm disappointed, all you old heads. None of you knew where my shirt came from.
Fish.
I recognized it. I just
Isn't
didn't
that
know
the
what it was from.
micros?
Yes,
There you
thank you,
go.
Brent. Let's fucking go.
That's the micros.
Let's go. Yeah. And I have my nice World Series hat on that Melissa gifted me this year.
It's a real
all-
dad hat.
You all have hell to pay.
Yep.
You can't read it from
Yeah,
where you're
if you
at.
want
Okay.
if you want to read what's on his hat, you're gonna have to go to the Bellagio and meet up with Berkey.
No, I'm going to wear this to 25K.
He's going to be at the
today.
series. He's going to be taking pictures, walking through the hallways,
It
playing the
says-
1Ks.
It says, "Let any fish who meet my gaze learn the true meaning of fear, for I am the harbinger of death."
That is a real dad hat with a dark fucking
And you're wearing
twist.
it forwards. You have to wear it forwards.
Oh, you can only
obviously.
wear it forward.
Anyways,
That's going to do it for us. Go ahead, take us out, Connie.
that's gonna do it for us. We are out of here. We are back at tomorrow, 10:30. If Berkey can get his shit together, we will figure it out. If not, he might be day 2 of the 25K,
Let's go.
which you know your boy Conrad will be running the show on fucking time. All right.
Let's go, Connie.
World
it's World
Series.
Series time, baby. Let's
World
go,
Series.
everybody. Good luck.
Let's get it popping. It's World Series time. Later.
Peace.
To the
Good
grind.
luck.
Yeah. Am I getting